Thank you all for attending our this year's Energy Business Summit. We're already looking forward to next year's summit, which will occur on September 30th, 2025. So please mark your calendars. We'll share more details on the panels, the panelists, and the topics in the coming months. For those who enjoyed this Energy Summit, we have many ways in which you can become involved. You can join our advisory council. You could participate in our Energy Leader Speaker Series, where we bring in energy speakers throughout the year to speak with students, specifically on what they're doing and career paths. You could be a mentor to undergrads, or you could also contribute to this initiative. There are QR codes that will be displayed throughout this post-summit mixer that you could use your phone, and you could sign up for one of these if you'd like to be more involved with the initiative. We're going to close this session with hearing some few remarks from Darpan Kapadia, who is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Ellis Power, a New York-based private equity firm focused on the energy industry. Darpan.
Thanks, Sean. As we all know, Sean runs a pretty tight ship around here, so I've been allocated 5 to 7 minutes to wrap this up. So I'll get right into it, and then we'll get to the reception. But it's a real pleasure to have been here with all of you today. I think it was a fascinating conversation. So I want to start by just thanking everyone that made this possible. And a special thank you to Sean Hyatt and Karen Green for putting all the effort into executing on this wonderful event and the initiative generally. Thank you to Dean Garrett and Sarah Murphy for having the leadership along with you two and the vision along with you two to launch the initiative, and with that, this inaugural summit. And a special thank you to Ray Sage for his sponsorship and his leadership as well, and his partnership in making this initiative a reality. And thank you to all the remarkable panelists and moderators that are still here. It was a thought-provoking day, really insightful conversations. The questions and responses were terrific, and I think it's clear this is a complicated puzzle that we're all trying to solve together. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to all of you in the audience for being here, particularly the students, for being focused, for being engaged in this critical and important dialogue. And of course, thanks to the many folks behind the scenes that allowed this event to get done. So please join me in giving everyone a round of applause. So look, I've been in the energy business for a couple of decades at Ellis Power, and a little bit of background on us, you get a sense of my perspective. We're kind of an all of the above investor, owner, developer, operator, anything related to the electric grid. So we invest in gas generation, both combined cycle and peakers. We invest in renewable generation across pump storage, hydro, run-of-river, hydro, solar, wind. We invest in battery storage. We invest in distributed resources like EV charging, demand response, and microgrids. So again, taking an all of the above approach to solving that problem. And I think that was consistent with the theme and the messaging that came through today. And I've been through my fair share of conferences over the years, and I think this one was really different. If you asked me to attend a energy transition conference in California or sponsored by a California-based university, I would not have expected the content we saw today. I think the content today was really different. We would not have been talking about metals and mining in LNG or hydrocarbons. We would not have been talking about carbon capture and sequestration. We would not have been talking about artificial intelligence and restarting a shuttered nuclear plant like 3 Mile Island. The conversation today was different because the moment is different, and I think that came across loud and clear in our discussions. Today, power demand is expected to grow at rates we have never seen before, and we just came off that panel because of AI, but not just because of AI, because of reshoring of manufacturing, electrification of many parts of the economy, and this is a new thing. This is a new dynamic for this country, and I think today is different because the large parts of the planet are trying to industrialize and decarbonize at the same time. I thought that was a fascinating way to think about the transition, that there's two transitionings happening simultaneously. And that's going to put enormous strains on the availability of capital, the availability of labor, supply chains, and the like. And because we're trying to build new energy ecosystems on top of existing ones, it's an enormous task. And I think today is different because we're becoming increasingly aware of the dependencies that are emerging. We're used to the gas and oil discussions, but now we're thinking about lithium processing and other parts of the clean energy supply chain, and that creates geopolitical vulnerability. So that's also a new thing. So we have all these new dynamics in the situation today that we need to think about. So as a result, when you think about sustainability in the energy sector, I think that means decarbonizing in a way that ensures reliability, security, and affordability, which means you got to take a broader perspective. And I think that's what we brought to the discussion today. You have to take a comprehensive approach to both the supply side and the demand side set of solutions. We think it's an important and responsible way for private sector and policymakers to attack the problem. There is no room or time for ideology, and I think that came across today. So I commend USC Marshall and all the people that made today possible for acknowledging the dynamics of the moment and for bringing diverse voices into the conversation today. I think it was very important. And for the students that are still here, that powered through the day and are still here, I think there's a lot for all of you to be really excited about. As you heard in the last panel, energy is sexy again. I don't think it was ever sexy, but let's go. We can go with that. But it's an exciting time to work in our industry because there's just so much to do, and they're really long, challenging, and rewarding careers awaiting for you. So if you're an engineer and you like to build things, I think what you heard today, there's a lot of stuff that we need to build. We need to build hundreds of gigawatts of solar and wind and batteries. We need to build thousands of miles of transmission. We need to build pipelines. We need to build conventional generation. We need to build a lot of stuff. And so if you're an engineer that's interested in that, there's really an exciting career for you. It's a new industrial revolution. It's a big moment. Or if you're an entrepreneur and you're interested in technology and innovation, our space is really dynamic. There's a lot going on. And so you can look at startups, you can look at clean energy venture capital, you can look at working at research labs, because we're all pushing the boundaries of what is possible. And if you're interested in energy policy, I thought that was really interesting today. Every panel focused on policy and politics. It's part of, nobody likes to deal with that stuff, but it's an incredible part of the effort. Transitioning the way we want to, whether we like it or not, is a giant public-private partnership. And so there's opportunities and careers around policy with law firms and government, lobbying firms, with research and think tanks and not-for-profits. And those organizations need people who can think through all the nuances we talked about today. It's a complicated problem. In fact, we were talking in a little sidebar, it'd be great to have policymakers in the room at an event like this so they can hear what it really is going to take to transition. And we can get away from just the spin on top of the spin. I think that's important. So there's opportunities in policy if that's where you're interested in. And if you're an aspiring investor and you want to deploy capital, we're going to need trillions of dollars deployed across the economies of the world. And so there's a lot of opportunity to deploy capital in our space. Infrastructure is probably the fastest growing asset class in the investment management business. And within infrastructure, it's energy infrastructure. So there's opportunities for you as an investor. Or if you want to just work in consulting or banking, go work for the energy teams within those groups. You'll probably work harder than you want, but you'll get a great experience. So there's opportunities there. So if you're mission-oriented and you want to have an impact, you want a challenging and rewarding career, come to our industry, which takes me back to the beginning. This is an exciting time in our space. The opportunities have never been greater. So on behalf of the industry to our students that are out here, I'll leave you with one last question. Will you join us? Thank you, everyone. Reception is out there.